Hi everyone. We're doing something a little different today in light of some recent events that you probably have heard of already by now. As of this Monday, the writers' strike that many were expecting has officially commenced, and we just want to give you some info on what you should know about the strike. So, please, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so every 3 years, the Writers Guild of America, or WGA, negotiates with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, AMPTP, over the terms of their minimum basic agreement, or MBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement that covers work done by writers within the WGA. As Annie mentioned, as of May 2nd, the WGA is on strike after the AMPTP failed to address the WGA's proposal for a new contract. We here at the Flash podcast stand with the WGA in their efforts for fair pay and fair working conditions. Without writers, there would be no The Flash or any other show we love. To learn more about the WGA strike and for updates, you can visit wgastrike.org and follow the WGA on Twitter at WGA West and at WGA East.
And this information will be available in the show notes. You guys can go check it out because this is definitely it's a massive deal because this only happened 15 years ago. So, but with that said, an all new episode of Flash Podcast starts right now.
Hi, I'm Eric Wallace, showrunner of The Flash, and you are listening to The Flash Podcast. It's awesome.
Well, hello, buddy, and welcome back to the Flash Podcast. Your party for all things to see about The Flash. Starring Grand Gaston as Barry Allen, aka The Flash, in the 2000s. I'm your host, Andy B, as always, and joining me, as always, are Breeze, and this time, Toddy's taking over Lacy's body. How are you girls doing today?
I'm feeling pretty lacy today.
It only took you 4 seasons, Toddy. It only took you 4 seasons, but congrats.
Yeah, I'm the Keone version of Lacy right now. Just feeling very zen. Writing
Breeze, how
some
are you?
letters to her, She likes it over there.
Scene, I can't wait to talk about it.
So yeah, Lacey will be back next week, but we do have a special guest with us because listen, when it comes to Reverse Flash stuff, she's our number one go-to person for all things Reverse Flash. She's one of the hosts of DC Studios podcast. She one of the hosts of Lituation Room. She's Miss Vanessa Shark. Vanessa, welcome back. How you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me back. Excited to talk about the episode with you guys. Yay! May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you
and also
all.
with you.
So like we said, for more information about the writer's strike, check our show notes. Obviously, it is horrible that it's gotten to this point. That only 15 years later after the initial strike that we had in our modern times, that this is happening again. And you get on the website you can see like what they proposed to the studios and how the studios essentially fucked up by not giving them anything, which is ridiculous. Ladies, anything you want to add to that whole strike commentary before we get started?
No, just support unions, not just
Exactly.
the WGA, but all unions, including
Oh, yeah.
workers in your community who may be striking for fair pay and working conditions. And don't forget Friday Night Lights season 2 and what the last strike did to us. So put pressure on those studios.
Yeah, solidarity with all striking workers, no matter what. America has a history of kind of being anti-union, and I am really happy and proud of people who are taking the risk and sacrifice to make sure they get, what they earn. Like, writers are deeply underappreciated So solidarity to all the writers and screenwriters and all the people who are involved, line editors, all that stuff. Shout out.
Yeah.
Yes, and may the AI not replace us.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. I didn't even know about the whole, like, some of those AI software that existed until like very recently, and I'm like, what are we do? How is our society going this wrong? Like, I get it, they were pretty much effed up to begin with, but I'm like, how are we getting into AI this much? Where it's like, I don't, I don't get. Yeah, exactly. Mind the gap. Anything that uses AI is not real art. AI is indeed scary, mads. So yeah, this affects all shows. Like, thankfully, the Flash was already done long before the strike even happened. Um, but like, I know Eric tweeted today. He and several Flash writers, they're all out and picketing, which as they should. And you could, if you guys want to show your support, besides checking out the information in the show notes, follow them on social media and see what they're talking about, because there is so much that I didn't even know about the negotiations until just very recently. So we're hoping this will pass, that the studios will get their shit together sooner rather than later, and actually, because again, without writers, we can't have any shows. It starts with the writing. It starts with the letters in their minds that goes on paper. So yeah, we're absolutely in solidarity with the Writers Guild, and of course, yeah, union. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a I joined a union many years ago, and it started helping me a lot more than I realized. So, but with that said, let's get into episode 10 of season 9, called A New World Part 1, aka the first part of our 4-hour series finale. And this episode was written by Eric Wallace and Thomas Pound, and it was written by Eric Wallace. So I'm guessing he wasn't sleeping at all throughout these weeks. But since Toddy is back, it's Toddy Cap time.
Oh no, it's gonna be like a real sad toddy cap though. It's not gonna be exciting because it's literally just like we saw Iris pregnant with like quadruplets. I don't know what was going on there. There was a lot of baby in that belly. But just as she gets nominated for her Pulitzer, Pulitzer, how do we say this word? I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say Pulitzer in real life. And no one's helping me. No one knows.
Because I don't know, and I don't want to say that I know.
I think it's
I
think it's Pulitzer.
All right, we have competing opinions. Either way, Iris does not get to find out from her father when she calls to pretend like he cares that she has been nominated, because Barry in that moment disappears. Also, before that, there was like a lot of happy couples, and it was like really weird. It was very eerie. I was like, everything is so happy. I guess nothing is going to go wrong today. And then Barry disappears. So there you go. So now Barry gets taken.
I googled it. It's Pulitzer.
Pulitzer.
After Joseph Pulitzer.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Pulitzer, for having that name. So anyway, he gets sent back to the year 2000, but at first I was confused because I was like, oh, it's a weird year 2000 because Eddie is here and he's not Eddie. But no, that's just like a totally separate thing. It's not related to this year 2000. So Barry's in the year 2000, and he's going to go talk to Joe West and be like, please give me private information from an unlisted citizen so that I may return to my location. And Joe's like, you seem like a nice guy, so maybe I will. But then Barry realizes what date it is, and it is, of course, his favorite date, the Flash's only fixed point in time, which is the date that Barry's mother dies. So he runs off to go, we don't know what. Like, is he going to stop it? Is he going to hang out with her? Is he just going to flop himself in front of a car and see if that will transport him back to the present? Either way, Nora and Henry, because they are living angels at that point, decide to take him to the hospital and then like devote the rest of their day to his well-being and care with $0 on the hospital bill, which is super nice. No ID, no insurance needed. This is the America that we deserve. Thank you, Henry and Nora. So Barry gets to spend some beautiful time with them and also like break down a bit. And then I'm blanking on what happens, but basically he meets Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash is here, so he's like, "Oh, Reverse Flash is the reason that I'm here. He's what brought me here." And Reverse Flash is like, "No, I don't know why you're here, but I love it because now I'm definitely gonna show you me killing you. It's gonna be super fabulous, and you can't stop me because otherwise, then Iris and your baby will die. But probably they will still die if you die now. So really, it just sucks to be you." And he doesn't realize, see, that this has already happened. And I think also Barry doesn't realize at first. It takes you a while. First, you're like, "Oh no, how are we going to get out of this?" Oh, wait, we already saw this. This is the reverse POV from what we've already been shown like 62 times. But it's super fabulous. Great twist that isn't really a twist. Love it. Live, laugh, love. Eat, pray. Also love. Everything has to end with love. Okay. Anyway, so Joe gets blue man grouped. I don't know what happened to him. Now he has blue eyes, and he is like the negative Speed Force avatar, kind of real negative Speed Force. Something happening. He talks in a real weird deep voice with a lot of vibrato, and he's like, "Barry, after everything you've done to me," which includes 0 examples. I don't know what Barry did to him. This is gonna be the absolute worst for you. Okay. Doesn't matter. It's not the absolute worst. Barry has learned his lesson that it's nice to spend time with people before they die. So now he's actually at peace and very happy. And he rescues his baby self. He doesn't rescue his mom. Thawne loses his powers because he just like didn't pay the electricity bill for several months. I'm not really sure why this specifically made Thawne lose his powers. I think we learned once, but I have since forgotten. My brain has been emptied. Either way, it is now Thawne's worst day, and now he super ultra hates Barry and is definitely going to ruin his life. Whereas before, he only kind of hated Barry for reasons we still do not understand and was going to ruin his life. So really, nothing has changed for Thawne. And then finally, we do meet Eddie, who is not Eddie. He is Malcolm, other last name that is not Thawne. Why would you do that? But anyway, it's Cobalt Blue. And he sees... I don't know what. Did he get transported to another world? Again, I don't know what's happening. But he gets the like report on Eddie's death. And he's like, "Who the F is Eddie?" And that's the end. Now we don't know how he's gonna be called Blue other than Blue is happening. So oh, thank you. Yes, that's what you missed on Glee.
Be very careful.
Ollie
Caution
says-
advised. Listening
Yeah, we need-
to Toddy Caps.
All is I'm choking on my soda. Ay, Dios mío. Yeah. It's the highlight of my night. Toddy recap. See, Toddy. Every time
Thank
when
you.
you get
Well,
down
my
on
favorite
your...
part is that I'm like, I don't know what happened. Actually, I did witness it.
Well, it
I
is
don't
just part. It
recall.
is just part 1 of the episode of
It
the
is
finale.
true.
So
It
you
is
know,
of the 4-hour.
we're not supposed to know yet.
All right. So how do we feel about this only plot point? I guess we can break down the like one scene each that we saw other people in after.
Yeah, Lacy has the B story.
Yeah.
No, I actually wrote the storyline this
Sorry,
week.
my bad.
Oh,
my bad.
oops.
Yeah.
All right. So go forth. Share your feelings, Vanessa. Please begin because it is Reverse Flash, your bestie, and he did great even though he failed.
I always love seeing the Reverse Flash, no matter what version of him it is. He's one of the greatest villains, and I think people are now starting to realize, like outside of the fandom, like more people are realizing that Reverse Flash is one of the best villains because he's so petty and irrational, illogical, and so filled with hate. Like there's like this great meme where just like I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning just to be extra petty, and it's just like it's one of my favorite memes because it's him to like a T. Every version of him, if that's not your Reverse Flash at the core, you're getting him wrong. He is petty, Petty, and this episode is such a good showcase of why he's so petty, because he's just like, I wanted to be the hero, not you, and you stole my glory, so I'm gonna kill you and destroy your entire timeline. Like, bro, what? Seems like an over-exaggeration to something that's like Barry didn't even try to do on purpose. So I love his overreaction. I love how menacing he is. I love their little like bar tension scene. I think this is probably the most Grant has really acted like since the first episode of the season. Like
Right?
he's felt like kind of like in the background for most of the season, but this episode, it's something about when we dive into the mythos of Flash, his backstory, when we deal with his parents and with the Reverse Flash, Grant comes to life because this is like so central to the Flash's story, and I think Grant really cares about the real good Flash stuff. And this is like season 1 goodness. Like this episode was really good, and I was so surprised because I was like, "What is going on this season?" But it was great. Like I love seeing pregnant Iris and Tatiana. Never in your life comment on how big a woman's pregnant. Never. She could be as big as a house, and you'd be like, "Wow, you look 3 months pregnant." Never comment on the size of a woman's belly ever. Obviously, we've done some time skipping, and she's like 9 months pregnant at this point. She may be pregnant with twins. I think that's the big. Personally, I think that's a big twist.
I hope so.
Reason that like they ended up messing with the timeline so that the kids are born at the same time, which is really cool. So I think that's what happens. I know nothing. I've never seen. I haven't seen any of the rest of the season. I just am guessing that's what's going to happen. So
You haven't
that's
seen the rest
like
of the season?
3 months. The last
this
episode.
visual's cool.
Oh, I love it.
But I love seeing pregnant Iris. I was recently pregnant, so it's cute seeing her pregnant. I love seeing Rick Costin again. He's gorgeous. I briefly had this moment. I was like, man, in one reality, he could have been Barry Allen. Like, I don't know. If y'all want to be blonde Eobard, I could have blonde Barry played by Rick Costin. That would have been dope. But yeah, that was a good episode. That's all I gotta say.
Good
So Toddy is obviously cancelled because she. Toddy, how could you?
I know. Shame. The walk of shame. Breeze, how good or was the episode for you?
I thought it was really good. I know in the past I've been critical when they kind of revisit storylines we've done 1 million times, which we sort of did this episode. But I thought it was really good. It's funny Vanessa's comment about how Grant like really turns it on during certain storylines, because my roommate was in the living room with me last night when I was watching this. And she's not like an Arrowverse person at all, has watched like Legends, but like nothing else. She goes, he's pretty good for an actor on the CW. Which I know is going to offend all of our listeners, but like even she, like someone who doesn't watch the show could see like, okay, he's like putting on a performance, like, delivering those emotional scenes, which I thought it was really great to see him with his parents, especially as he's about to become a parent, because apparently Iris is like about to give birth any minute now, according to them. There's been a time jump. Matt Ledger is great. I think he really is like such a good Eobard. So it was good to like have him back as that character versus like the non-evil Eobard we saw last season. I don't really know what's going on with the negative Speed Force, and I kind of don't care, but I'm glad we gave Joe more to do than to just, like, hang out with Cecile, which, like, when that first scene, which I guess we'll get to, when it's just them at the house, I'm like, really? We wasted one of Jesse L. Martin's episodes on this scene? But then, we see he has more to do in the episode, so I had to eat my words. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode overall, and I'm really interested to see, like, where they take this Cobalt Blue and Negative Speed Force stuff through the 4-part finale.
Beautiful. Andy, you obviously hated it. Explain.
Yes. I mean, you ruined it, Toddy, by guessing, like commenting on Iris's body. I remember.
Try to remember before that. What were your true feelings?
Oh my God. No, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes, and I can what I'm so happy about, because normally if I say that one of Eric's episodes is one of my favorites, I get instantly called a shill online. But because everyone else also fucking loved it, y'all can play that card with me this week. So either say what you're gonna say and get mocked, or lick your, go lick something in your mother's basement. I don't care. I'm so happy we got to this point, because I honestly, I never knew if we would actually ever get to this storyline, that we've had since season 1. We knew that at some point our Barry would see, go back in time to that night and stop season 1 Barry. Technically, if we want to be really, really technical, there should have been at least 3 of them there, because Flashpoint. And also, not that I like to commend the 100th episode for anything, but technically Barry and XS, I mean, no, JPK's Nora was also there that night outside the house. So I'm like,
Maybe all of those got erased.
Yeah, I think some of that got erased with Crisis.
I mean, if only they've, erased Cicada from existence, but yet they name dropped him this season. But I'm so happy we got the storyline because again, I don't know where all this heat on Grant's acting is coming from. I mean, I think I always think he's great, but I think this is like he steps up a lot in this one because again, I think he gets to shine more when he's not surrounded by so many supporting characters, like almost all of Team Flash. Again, anytime he's with Iris, I'm good. But I'm like, I don't need him. I don't need any more scenes with him as a seal, because it's weird. What I was gonna say, yes, exactly, new Rachel. Shout out to Vanessa for the Reverse Flash shirt. You should have seen what she wore when she met Tom Cavanaugh. Like that was like one of the best combos she had made. But I'm such a huge fan of Matt Letcher. Again, I love both Matt and Tom as Reverse Flash, but we knew that when it came to this story, it always had to be Matt, and I'm glad he was available. I'm glad he was able to come back one last time. When I talked to him, like this dude loved playing Reverse Flash. Like, and I'm sad we didn't get to see more of him, but I always love when whenever Barry is with Eeyore, he gets so violent. Like he's like like screaming, "Shut up!" And like he's about to like again. I thought he was gonna smack the hell out of him, and then they suddenly they're in a bar, and I was so afraid that we were gonna see like baby Mark somehow come in, like because we have to have Mark Shieldblade for some reason. I thought like we were gonna see like a fire Mark Blaine coming in, like, well, can I take your order or something? I don't know, because it was that bar. But thankfully it was just Eobard and Barry.
How old do you think Mark is? Wouldn't he be like a child?
I know.
He's
he would be.
ageless.
He would be like 8 years old, I guess.
So you thought he would just be 8 years old demanding his drink in the bar? It could happen. It could happen.
I mean, he's a criminal that works with Team Flash, so you know.
Wait, guys, did anyone catch that Dr. Rosso at the
Yes,
yeah, that was so good.
I love that.
Wait. Yeah, okay, that was cool. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I really loved the storyline. Again, I felt so old seeing the year 2000 again because I'm like, damn, like,
right.
I'm like, where are all the iPads? Where all where the touch screens? Why is the computer screen so thick? I like Captain's, Detective Singh's goatee. I love his beard
and his hair looked just bad.
Oh yeah, I mean because Patrick has always looked fabulous. So like I don't. It was just funny seeing him back, and Barry's like, "I call everyone Cap," and like suddenly I was like, "Oh no, please don't do like a Gen Z reference of Cap because I don't know what it means." Julian, if you're watching, you know what it means. But I love again.
Caveat: that's not Gen Z. Like calling something Cap isn't Gen Z. That's
I feel like I only hear it from the kids these days. I don't remember.
It's AAV. That's African American. That's from the Black people.
Okay, that's okay. So that's okay. So Gen Z, so Gen Z has just taken it for them. So because
Gen Z takes everything, and then everyone calls it Gen Z language, and it's
right.
Like it from like queer culture,
repurposed
Yeah, it's not usually. It's from something else. But anyway, continue.
Well, there you go. So yeah, now both me and Toddy are canceled. No problem.
I'm just explaining things.
Yeah.
No, let's leave the canceling to the other podcast.
Right. That's enough. Podcast. that one got canceled, so we gotta,
That's why Vanessa's here with us tonight, since we don't have another podcast now.
Oh Lord.
We got to end it.
But Toddy also fucked up, so that's important. No, but I love the storyline. Then the mystery, again, I think this was one of the best times of usage for Jasiel Martin again in a long time. He was having fun, I feel, doing the creepy voice and everything. But I'm glad we got the storyline and it came full circle. And again, also it was, it's just so fun seeing like season 1 footage again of them, the night they were fighting. if I have to be nitpicky a little bit though, is because like I can really tell the red shade that the future Flash that runs into the house that we saw in season 1, his red doesn't match the red that Barry has now. I'm like, Andy, shut the fuck up. You need to love this.
You brainwashed yourself into loving it.
Someone Photoshop it for Andy so that
There
the
you go.
reds match.
So you can truly love it.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
yeah.
like, Eric, why did you get the wrong shade of red? But no, I really, this is like, again, this is what I wanted for the final season. I'm I've seen 11, so I'm just waiting for 12 and 13. But I'm hoping those 2 episodes are also very, very Bear centric. Tati, how were your feelings about this episode?
I love how Andy has to tell us when he's seen things ahead of us, but
I was telling the viewers.
I know us as in the general public, the adoring listeners of which we are one. But anyway, yes, A++. I have to say, like, yes, to Vanessa's point, that it's not that Grant has been doing poorly at all this season, but he really did step it up this episode. I think that for everyone throughout the season, it's kind of felt there's been a feeling of like we're kind of sleepwalking through it. We're kind of like, okay, we're all going through the motions. You know what I mean? Like this is the last go round, and unless there's something that really stands out, like maybe like Keenan last week got to have some really big moments. Not that he's been having any moments before that, so there's not really a comparison. But Keenan got to really blow up as Wally last week. Candace and Nicole got some in the Dreamer episode, etc. So this was really like Grant's moment to shine and show us what he can really bring, right? To really elevate the script and Barry's emotions. I definitely was tearing up watching it, and was just really impressed overall by his acting. My one nitpick of the episode, if I had a negative at all, it would literally be that I wish that Iris could have been on the phone with Joe to tell him the news before Barry disappeared. I would have loved to hear Joe react and have a conversation with his child before we move on to the next thing. That's literally it. Everything else, I'm all for it. Yeah, I loved how it came full circle. I loved how even at first, I wasn't like, obviously once they said the date, I knew we would eventually end up there, but I didn't piece together how it was going to happen when I started watching the episode. So I thought it was really nicely done. Definitely one of, if not the best episode of this season, and one of the best so far. It seems like plots that Eric has given us since he became showrunner. So, yay!
It's
I was surprised. I was surprised that he had time to both like write and direct it. I'm like, Eric, it's 9:10. Like, how much time did you have around? Because this is around the final batch of the episode. So,
I mean, to be fair, a good chunk of this episode has been already done previously.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
I'm not.
It has to be a lot of work, I assume.
What was I gonna say? I really thought I was really hoping that we could have seen at least baby Iris for a moment, during the flashback or something. But I guess because I had forgotten that this had happened because the kid who played young Bear, I forgot that he had passed away, and so I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm like, oh, that kid was good. But what do we think of the? Well, he said he's not the Avatar; he's the real deal.
Yeah. So I guess kind of like Speed Force Nora.
Like the actual force itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the first time we've actually heard the negative Speed Force talk or manifest in some shape or form?
I think so.
I guess. I'm not convinced it is the negative Speed Force, but yeah.
I thought Jesse as evil was just funny. It was great. it was very again. Eric loves himself some horrors, so for a season that was supposed to have a lot more light-hearted comedy, is, this season should have probably just premiered around Halloween or something. But yeah, then there's all the other characters that just has one scene.
Yeah, I did, like, I don't even. I'll just run through them. We already talked about Iris getting her Pulitzer, which I guess that's realistic that you would just get like an email pop up, but it seems so anticlimactic to me. So if anyone has anything more to say about that, Chester and Allegra. Chester makes her the most hideous costume I've ever seen in my life. Like Joseph in the coat of many colors or whatever the heck it's called. I didn't think the mask was that bad. It's a little bulky, but like, it's fine. And she's like, no, this sucks, but you can come back to my place, because Cecile is with her daughter for once in her life. She's with Joe and Jenna at the house.
Jenna was so silent, I thought she was gonna be the one that disappeared. Like when Joe goes off going, Jenna, and I was like, oh my god, Jenna's gone. But no.
And I think that's it, right? Did anything else happen? Nothing.
Keon
How dare you?
Yes.
Keon writing letters to
Oh
herself.
my god, Lacy's gonna be so disappointed in me. But yes, we have this weird.
Lacey hasn't even seen the episode, so it's fine.
Weird sequence of Keon like appearing out of all this frost, and then like a voice. I don't even know how to describe the tone of the scene, because it was just way out of left field, and it's like her being like, "Dear sisters, here's what I did today," blah blah blah. And then she's like, "I really wish creepy Mark was still here so I could talk to him about it." And yeah, it was weird. I literally don't know what to make of it. So
I guess we were just supposed to remember that she's alone. Everyone else has someone, but Keon is alone.
But she like literally like is like, Mark, like, I hate you, and now she's like, oh, I wish my best friend Mark was
here.
You know
why this scene exists? Is so that they could find a way to reveal that it's been a total of 9 months now, so that we can see Iris with the full baby bump, because good lord, everyone and their mother online was like, are we not gonna see the pregnancy? Are we not gonna see her? It's only been 2 months. I'm like, guys, we have 4 episodes left. So much can happen. And
we thought she wasn't even gonna be pregnant until the final episode, remember?
That was like worst case scenario.
What is this we suddenly? But yes, there you go.
Speaking of the royal we, oh my
that's
god.
Why Keon exists. That's why Keon's scene existed. I won't say that's why Keon existed, just to tell us how many months she's been pregnant.
Oh, someone in the chat, Sci-Fi Jean, said she mentioned new powers that we haven't seen. She just say that Argus has been helping her test her powers.
She's been evolving her power set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the scene was fine, but just the way that they handled that, like, letter to the girls, that was just like created out of nowhere. Like, we've never seen her try to communicate with him in any way.
It just reminded me of like the Lady Whistledown letters on Bridgerton.
Yes,
like,
right. And the tone was very like the pilot of Vampire Diaries, or like, I don't know, iCarly or something. It felt very amateurish for some reason.
So it was off tonally, like it didn't jive with the rest of the episode. I was like, have we ever done like the close up with the letter and like stuff like that? It was just very odd choice. Like, I didn't hate it, but I was just like, it felt really out of place for this episode and like the whole show.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe Eric watched some rom-coms before he did it and was like, let me try something. I don't know what it was. I was like, okay, this is just a way to just, like they're all getting one scene each that, we can actually focus it all on Barry, because that was the thing. I literally thought we were going to cut back and forth and like in present time to 2000, and that's kind of what happens next week. So tune in. But no, I love the callback to the pilot where Barry like runs into Gambit's car. It is still so funny that even now that Black Lightning is in our universe, we've never introduced Gambit's brother, who is literally the one who owns that. Like, I just want to see like evil James Remar running around, because he's literally the reverse of Peter Gambit. He makes all the suits for the villains. I laughed so hard when I found out the first time. I'm like, wait a minute. So what does Gambit's brother do? Oh, he makes suits, but for evil people. But I could care two shits about what Cecile like caring. Like, I'm so happy to be here over the weekend. I'm like, no, you're not. You don't care.
Mm-mm.
Like I want. Go on, Vanessa.
No, I just that scene was just weird, and I don't know why they needed to include it. And like, I'm not sure why she looks so strange. I don't know why this woman lounges around in her house with leather pants on.
Oh my god, yes, it was so like where are you going to the club afterwards?
Like, why is she dressed like Buffy going out to like knife some like vampires? Like, I don't know why she dressed like that around. Like, I'm not like, I don't know. It's like you're at home, you're chilling. Like, why are you wearing leather pants?
Dress for the job you want.
Right. This is her superhero like fit.
There's like times where I just like I wish like Cecile would just challenge herself. I mean, like, let's see how long I can hold my breath, because that means that we wouldn't hear her speak or do anything.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
I'm
so aggressive.
Not that bad.
Listen, y'all. Anyone watching, screen record it. It's fine, perfectly fine. She'd be more useful for a change if she wasn't breathing.
What?
Until the series finale.
All right, I take it back. We're back to canceling.
Bring back
we all hate
cancellation.
Cecile, but we do not wish death on her.
I didn't say
that.
Wait. I didn't say that. I just said hold your breath. Don't breathe until the series finale, and then you can get one
Right,
scene.
and that would be very normal.
Uh,
That would be.
Then they would just talk about how powerful Cecile is. Oh my god, Cecile can hold her breath.
That said, screen recording and sending to Danny Nicolette. No, that would just be hurtful to her. We love you, Danny. You are wonderful.
I have
Our
no
criticism of the
problem-
characters does not extend to the actors.
Exactly. I just Danny Nicolette, like, she's from what I can tell, she's super nice. People who interviewed her before said she's lovely to talk to. I just, I could care more about the Kardashians than I would care about Cecile.
Wow.
So, like, what? I've never been a fan of the Kardashians.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's a big statement.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Electra.
So you would be more
would
disappointed in Bad Bunny for dating Cecile than.
Oh my god.
What is this reference?
Bad Bunny is. I can't even say which one because I literally cannot remember.
Kendall, because Kylie's dating Timothy.
Okay, exactly. So yes, Timotei and
Wild
Benito have disappointed us, broken our hearts, thrown away our love. It's fine.
It's wild. Like, I know, I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say. Never mind. This is not the
Venue.
Nope.
What the going on in here on this day?
Shout out to Alyssa Edwards. She's on a new show. Sorry, I love Alyssa Edwards.
Ooh.
Well, what's the show?
It's called The Goat. It's like on Amazon's free.
It's called The Goat.
Yeah, it's basically a bunch of like popular reality TV stars are competing to be who's the ultimate reality TV
That's
star.
fun.
And she's one of them, and I'm probably gonna watch simply for her because she is good TV. Shout out to Alyssa Edwards. Anyway,
And she would have been more useful than Cecile on The Flash.
I mean, we're getting a drag queen on Doctor Who. Why can't we have one on The Flash?
Yeah, Eric. Why can't we? Come on.
agreed. Shea Coulee's gonna be on a Marvel show. DC needs to step it up. Actually, wait, Doom Patrol has a drag queen on. Never mind.
But then they
Find
canceled
an
the show.
Arrowverse show.
There, we have no Arrowverse anymore. It's dead.
That's so
It
sad.
won't keep coming back like Oliver.
Wow. Oliver resurrected more times than the Arrowverse.
Oh,
That costume was hideous. Like I was talking to Kayla yesterday, and I was like, I thought he loved her, and that's what he created for her.
oh, you're talking about that thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Chester's like pretty stylish, I guess. Like he
This
has a style, like so it's weird to me
This
that
is
he would make
stylish,
this
you,
coat.
Breeze. This is stylish.
No,
you?
I'm saying he personally like has a style, like he dresses well, like has like a style versus like that coat. Like would he wear that coat? I don't think so.
Just like it's so hideous. I mean, it's fascinating how hideous it is. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, though she I haven't transcribed it yet, but Kayla had like a funny remark because she was like, "Yeah, we definitely noticed." Because I'm like a man who says he loves his woman, and he puts her in that.
He doesn't want any man looking at her ever again.
She looks like the Sex Doctor. Oh my god, you're kind of right.
I do not get that reference. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. It's Doctor Who, like for the Sixth Doctor, like where he has like it is very much like what Lego was wearing.
Maybe that's maybe that was his reference. He is a nerd after all.
I just think he could have FaceTimed Cisco and been like, Cisco, do you have any advice for creating costumes?
The number of times they could FaceTime Cisco and choose to not even say they did. Like,
right, they act like he doesn't exist anymore, and I take it personally.
Really weird. No, let's talk about this really quick. What is going on? Because the amount of times they mention Argus and don't even like say Cisco, it's like they replaced Cisco's name with Argus. Like, we all know that Cisco is at Argus, and that like,
oh my god, ChatGPT did this. ChatGPT wrote the scripts.
No, don't
please,
yeah,
because what is going on? Like, why isn't Cisco being brought up at any point? Like, this is the last season. We're making all these callbacks to season 1, and we have there's no reference points to Cisco. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, that was like the whole ugly Jack. I was like, why didn't he just ask Cisco? Like, Cisco makes everything. Like,
I'm gonna look at Arrowverse Wikia and see how many times he's been referenced this season.
So in that comic where like the tie-in comic where Bloodwork escapes, like Cisco has a storyline where he's training Tina Wazo or whatever her name is that I don't remember because I'm bad with names. So it's like, why don't they reference like he's at Argus, like he knew about Bloodwork?
Once this season in the Dreamer episode.
Okay.
Oh, I remember, because when Iris like fell into her coma or whatever, like Barry started like panicking, like just throwing out a bunch of names on the I'm gonna call Cisco in the league and
okay, so maybe that's probably something that Grant just threw in there. I'm gonna just guess that he just threw that in there and that wasn't written in the script because no one has mentioned Cisco since. Where's Cisco?
He's mentioned way more in season 8, but I'm like, dear Lord.
I know, it's like they don't want the audience to remember Cisco because he's not going to be back for the finale. Like, I'm already prepping my heart.
What if it's the opposite? What if they don't want us to remember Cisco, so we'll be super surprised in the finale?
That's who I want to see the most. Like, we've seen everyone. I need to see Cisco. I miss Carlos Valdez. I know he's in other projects.
Oh, Andy turning his chair again.
Can you all stop asking things?
Can the chair nod yes or no?
No one's asking you, Andy.
I didn't ask. I specifically said I'm prepping my heart for no Cisco because I just feel like I'm being prepared for it.
No amount of preparation will prevent my heart.
You're making it more dramatic than I
am. All I will say is I know the definitive answer, and everyone will know soon enough.
Wow.
That's
Thank you, Eric Wallace.
Yeah,
for that.
You're like, there are 3 episodes left, and by the last episode, all your questions will be answered. Like, okay.
I love that you think that Eric, whoever said thanks, Eric. Like, trust me, Eric would be wondering too, like, how the hell do you know these things? And I'm like,
no, Eric, your answer being like Eric's, but actually Eric would have told us more. Eric would have been like, you know what? I'm not saying anything, but let me tell you with my face.
I was gonna say he would take like 50 words just to say I'm not telling you.
Yeah, remember when Todd, remember when we spoke to him a few months ago, and like I literally asked him, like, is John Wesley's ship back this season? And he's like, I cannot confirm nor deny. And I say, even though you mean we're supposed to pretend that we don't know that he's in episode 10, literally this episode. He's like, yes, pretend that you don't know. And I'm like, I don't get it. It's like, yeah, it was so great seeing John Wesley's ship again as like getting to play Henry.
Yeah.
Because season 2 hated all of us for some reason.
I'm not gonna lie, I did forget briefly that Henry has passed on.
Me too. Oh my god, me too.
Because he focused way more on Nora's death, and we have not revisited Henry's death. in seasons. Like,
They
it
don't
made
really
me
talk
look, 'cause I
about
think-
him either.
Because don't we have someone coming? Zoom's coming back eventually, right? I saw Teddy Sears
Yeah.
post on Instagram, so I assume we're gonna we'll refresh that. Cool, more parental death trauma. But I feel like he was just like, he was like, oh, there's my dad. Wow, and my mom. Like, damn, mama's boy. We get it. Anyway,
I wonder if it's because he's just always so used to seeing Jay Garrick that he's
That's-
kind of like he's like, what if Barry has just forgotten? Oh wait, what if
that's
that's
not. That's it.
that's young Jay. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thoughts. Again, this episode was like very straightforward. Again, like, you know, we got rid of the, you know, not got rid of, like, you know, we had our quick sugar scene. We allowed Cecile to breathe for a scene, and then Keon was writing. I still don't get why she like, girl. They're never gonna read.
It's okay. Okay. So part of here's Professor Vanessa coming back on. Part of the trauma and grieving process when someone dies is they encourage you to write journal and write letters to the person who has passed. It helps you get through it and work through it and write letters. I did it when my dad died a year and a half ago. I wrote a couple letters and I threw them away, or tore them up and threw them away. But I did write out after he passed because it helps to just write things out. So that I think is probably one of the most realistic things about the Keon storyline period, is that she would write to people that she feels like she's lost, that she never really, like, she never got to meet, but she feels like she lost them. So that I thought was a sweet kind of thing. I thought the whole sequence was kind of weird and misplaced, but it's realistic for sure.
Yeah. Well, I genuinely didn't know, so I apologize, you know, to anyone I offended, you know, because again, it was just because I understand why she may have felt, you know, written something to Caitlin, but I'm like, but you never knew Frost.
Right.
Keon.
I see. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I did know that, and I think it would make sense if that was a coping mechanism. But the tone of it seemed very like, "Hello, friends."
It's
like,
weird.
it just didn't seem like she was doing that, you know.
The
But I
tone
would totally
for what
understand.
it was.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was literally any other character doing it and being serious about it, like, you know, then I would definitely see it. Like, for example, I would 100% believe that Cisco does that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, writing letters to Caitlin. And if we saw that, I'm sure it would
cry. Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God. Oh my God.
And with I'm sorry. Don't cry. And with that, I will leave
Did you actually break No,
You just made me tear up. I didn't even think about Cisco. Oh my God.
Does he
All
even
the reason
know?
that they should be contacting him, right? Does he even know? We don't know.
I don't know. That made me really sad.
I'm sorry.
He
No,
would have
it's
cared.
fine.
And
Triggered.
Tony- and the worst part that Tony did this right before saying, and now I must leave.
I must leave.
Tommy made me cry. It's fine.
It's okay. It's okay.
That was
I'm
just like,
sending-
whatever. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I know. The overwhelming emotion. I understand. That's why we demand Cisco. We demand to at least know what Cisco's doing. Is he okay? Okay. But thank you all. Farewell. Good night. Find me at Marcella's ear.
And that's all.
Doing nothing.
That's the only plug you get for this week
Exactly.
because you broke
Because
Vanessa.
I made Vanessa cry.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, Tade. Bye. Why is it that whenever one of them is missing from the podcast, chaos ensues? When Bree is gone, somehow we behave. But the moment Lacy or Toddy disappears, something like this always happens.
The Force is losing its balance.
We can say the F word for because, you know, without Lacy being here, because, you know, she does not like the
This is
forces.
the Star Wars F, not the Flash F.
Oh, okay. So
It's
wow, I'm so used to these damn forces that
Sorry, Eric, but your forces could never.
her words, not mine. Any final thoughts on this episode? Again, there's really no problems with me for this episode. Again, I guess we can talk about the Rick Cosnet thing. Like him living like his happy life, like in the beginning, like, you know, I'm just going to work. I'm like,
accessories.
yeah, like, and it was so much blue that I'm just like, we don't get it. Oh no. He is very pretty. I agree with you, Vanessa. He's very pretty. So like when he this is clearly in the future. Like this is clearly, you know, this has to be in the future.
Wasn't he's Evard's like ancestor, so he could be this person's ancestor, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, in the comics, Malcolm Thawne is Barry's brother, half brother. So I don't think that's the route they're going here. So I don't really know what. Yeah, it could be an ancestor or like a descendant of somebody. I don't know.
Speaking of forces, Cabal Blue saying he is a force of nature make my eyes twitch a bit. No, I can't say that's a spoiler. Again, next week there's some lines that I think we're gonna have things to talk about. Electra says, "I have a theory.
Yeah,
Not Eddie is from another Earth."
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking too. I mean, since we really just reintroduced the multiverse again, it's probably more likely he is Eddie Thawne's doppelganger, but it's not Eddie Thawne. Malcolm Thawne.
It's just funny. Like when I heard it first, I'm like, "Oh, they're twins." I'm like, "What is this?" Then I read the backstory. I'm like, "Oh, this is such good drama." Like that. I'm like, I cannot believe a CW show actually didn't do it.
Yeah, right. It is wild. The 90s era Flash gets wild with all the stuff that goes on in that era. The Cobalt Blue stuff being one of them, but it's really cool. That storyline specifically was really cool because you get to see the whole Flash family. It's like across timelines, and like it's actually a really, really, really good storyline.
Minor Gap says, isn't Cobalt a bit of a forgotten Flash villain to go for the final season? Given how much Flash fans have been asking for this character, I don't know if he is that forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason I think why he hasn't been as forgotten as some would like to think is because of the existence of Rick Cosned as a Thawne in this universe. I think it's kind of like it's very poetic to kind of bring that character into life. Also, I'm just glad for because I think Mark Waid created him, so I'm like, hey, royalty checks. It was still so cute when Tatiana interviewed him 2 years ago, and like he hadn't seen Jordan's Bart Allen costume, so he showed it to him over Skype, and he like, oh my god, the geek out moment he had, and then he was like, show me again. I'm like,
that's
it
really
was so.
Yeah, I remember listening to
that. But yeah, let's do. Again, it's so hard to talk about this episode because again, because they did all these 4 parts. I feel like okay, this is kind of straightforward, and now we have to wait till next week. So, but yeah, let's do listener feedback. So I will do tweets and Instagram comments. So first we have from from Piper GT says, delighted with the writing these last 2 episodes and infuriated we couldn't have gotten this quality all along. What a great full circle episode. I know Barry couldn't change the timeline, but I wanted him to punch Vaughn in the face at the bar. Barry getting those moments in the restaurant and the hospital made me tear up. Grant played them so well. The full circle at the end with the night Nora died, Barry saving his child self while a young Flash watched. So good, nostalgia, and moving forward. Ed Kenny Carver says, wow, a great first part to the 4-part series finale of The Flash. A New World Part 1 was so good. Lots of good callbacks to The Flash Season 1, some great Flash versus Reverse Flash action, and also some good emotional moments. At Britain Girl, Maz, don't worry, we got your email, don't worry. That's actually why I was typing before, because I was copying pasting your email into the document. So I see what's going on. At Britain Girl, aka Mari, says the episode was amazing at every turn. Surprisingly, a very good wrap up to challenging demands to wrap that storyline. Barry and Iris scene was so cute, even if it was short. And while I get the need to have Barry go through that, can we please stop making our Iris suffer? But as for the others, I really have no idea what's going on in their heads for the Keon, Chester, and Allegra scenes. The montage was a choice. The marketing is weird, and if I had to go through another cringe sex innuendo of the teenage romance, I'm going to scream. Come on, we all know the lawyer who never works and the guy who quit the force for nothing can't afford 2 houses like that. Wow. Mari, wow. She went for it. Are they embezzling Barry's money or something? Anyway, Grant was outstanding. His parents was great. Let's Vaughn is peak and bring on Cobalt Blue. RC Fury says this pretty much summed up my feelings. So I just finished watching this week's episode of The Flash, co-edited by Eric Wallace, by the way, and all I have to say is, what the hell was that man holding out on us for? This was great. that's a long conversation. At Candy Canes U says, great episode because finally focuses on the right stuff. Visibly pregnant Iris, West Allen, Iris' Pulitzer nomination announcement. Y'all have broken me when it comes to this word. Barry's Speed Force catalyst being Iris and Nora. Barry Earbud rivalry, Alan Parents, David Singh, some interesting Joe West, and introduction of Cobalt Blue. And then from Facebook and Instagram, we have from John Patrick Van Pelt, what a good and enjoyable part one of the series finale. I thought the flashback was good, but one of the flashback sequences I saw was a young Barry Allen where his mother was murdered by Eobard Fonny, and I was wondering, did they use archive footage of Logan Williams as young Barry Allen in this episode? Yes, they did. I thought it was cool to see Joe be the bad guy for once, but my question for the flashback: how could Barry Allen get stuck in the year 2000, even though the network of the WBTV network was still in existence until 2000? Okay, this went really meta. This is a TV show. Like the WB and the CW doesn't exist in the Arrowverse. So Brian McDonald says it was so good. I cried multiple times, and I love that all the side characters in it for only like a minute. But having everything come together like that was perfect. Going back to the beginning. At Arrow_OT_Olicity says, I wasn't fond of the directing at the beginning to the jarring and out of place. Joe looked a lot more relaxed, less stressed without someone asking how he feels 3 times a day. And y'all thought I was being rough. Math ain't matching within a 9-month time job. Iris is like 10 months pregnant. Some threads being... Okay, Arrow_OT_Olicity, if you're watching... punctuation is helpful. Math ain't matching with a 9-month time job. I was like 10 months pregnant.
10 months pregnant?
That doesn't work.
I think they're saying it seems like there was a 9-month time jump, but she was already pregnant. But I don't think they ever say it was 9 months exactly.
From last week's episode to this week's episode, they've added another 7 months because she was 2 months pregnant last week, and now they've added another 7 months. So when Keon was saying, "Oh, these last 9 months since she was born," she's talking about. Hopefully there isn't a lot less Barry next week, which the trailer made it sound like. But as long as the next 3 episodes don't go full Eric Wallace, focusing on his 3 favorite characters, be nice. The ending arc would be fine. P.S. I don't know if you've seen the last episode, but it'd be funny if Caitlin and Frost just walk in Starlight and try to explain if there was annoying blue flashbacks to Keon by that letter and just don't explain anything. I don't know if Daniel Panabaker would have time to play 3 characters at once. And Wyatt Patrick Koski says, incredible.
Okay, Lecture writes, hey Flash Podcast team, how are you? Here are my thoughts on this week's wibbly wobbly timey wimey episode. Cecile actually spending time with her child and partner? I'm shocked. But of course we needed Cecile to tell us that Joe was feeling sad. She was going back to Central City the next day, because there's no way we could have figured that out on our own. I mean, it's not like Jesse L. Martin is an actor or anything. All those years on Law & Order and performing live every night in front of thousands of people on Broadway mean nothing. Do I seem a little bitter about Cecile's pointless empath powers? Do I think the show should just let actors act rather than have Cecile tell us how everyone feels? No, of course not. Where would the show be without Cecile? Okay, enough Cecile ranting. Moving on. Still don't care about Allegra's secret identity crisis. Keon can make like Dracula and turn into mist. Are the writers just pulling powers out of a hat now? I wanted to say they're pulling ideas out of somewhere else, but I know this is a family-friendly podcast.
Oh fuck! Go for it.
No, this is her writing. I mean, you can. I think if you know the expression, you can figure out what she was gonna say. I'm glad all the above stuff happened in the first 5 minutes. Best to get that out of the way and focus on the good stuff for the rest of the episode. Barry seeing his parents again just before his mom is killed and his dad gets locked up got me all emotional. And look at that, we didn't need to seal what Barry was feeling this time. That fight between possessed Joe and Barry was great, and Iris being Barry's lightning rod will never get old. Speaking of Iris, she's already in her 9th month. Either this was a huge time skip or this baby is developing at super speed.
Oh my god.
I always love when we get Lectrathon, nice twist showing us that the Flash versus Reverse Flash in the pilot episode wasn't the Flash from Ebart's future, but our Flash. Did we just find out that this Eddie is actually Barry Allen on another Earth? Because he just got Barry's origin story and doesn't seem to know who Eddie is. Still hoping he becomes Cobalt Blue. These last 2 episodes have been fantastic. In a, well, less than a fantastic season. This story arc should have been given way more than 4 episodes instead of wasting limited episodes on pointless filler, because it's bringing everything back around again like a final season should. Thanks for reading. And Libby writes, "Hi Flash Podcast. Wow, it's been a minute, but I think we got a near perfect episode. I say near because the first 5 minutes, more specifically the Keown scene, made me cringe. The editing was bizarre with iMovie type transitions, reading the tacky letter to her dead sisters, one of whom she is technically in their body, and then she breaks the 4th wall to ask for Mark back, the person who tried to experiment on her against her will and turn her into Frost. I don't care about Keown or Mark, and her place in the show just baffles me. Now moving on to the good stuff. I'm so glad we're seeing Barry and Iris become parents and Iris getting her Pulitzer. But I need Barry to come back before she gives birth. Grant did maybe his best work ever. There was no need for Cecile to tell us what Barry was feeling. Damn, y'all are on it this week. Grant gave us every emotion. You could tell he was having a blast. This truly was the culmination of Barry's hero story I've been wanting. While he was revisited the moment before, this time was different. He knew he had to let everything play out as it should, let his mother die, and save his younger self. It was the only way to keep the timeline intact and get back to Iris and Nora. He's come so far since Flashpoint, which this episode echoes. I love that for once Reverse Flash was out of the loop. Barry knew his plan would fail, and we got to see it come full circle as he became the Flash we saw in Season 1 finale. He has made peace with his parents' deaths and is moving forward. Henry and Nora were just angelic, and you could see what Barry's goodness and light comes from. They used Jesse L. Martin so well. It was great to see him as a cop and to be back in CCPD. The lighting and direction felt very seasons 1 through 3, and I was here for it. Also, the fight with Joe was thrilling because there were real stakes of the timeline changing. The big bad has to be Cobalt Blue, but the way they're introducing Rick's character is confusing. Is it an alternate reality, a twin, different timeline, or set in the future? And how did the police file just arrive in his lab? So many questions. I did like how they recreated Barry's accent. Anyway, I'm just so happy we got this episode. I wish the final season had spent earlier episodes tying up ends to properly finish Barry and Iris' story, and less on the side characters, but I'm glad we're finally getting to it. Hopefully next week is just as good. Cheers, Libby. And then finish... Oh, no, we have 2 more. Okay. Liv writes... No super long email this time, y'all, because I'm mad. Like, this was so good. And they waited until now. I was like, where's this going?
Where's this going, Liv?
I get having the same budget, but why do they have to say writing too? I just sigh. Great episode, great emoting, great direction, great score. I went back to look at the badge from the beginning and think they're P. Diddy remixing Cobalt Blue with the Red Lightning and naming him Malcolm Gilmore and So Thawne, which Easter egg Gilmore is the surname of the doctor that did the Barry and Malcolm twin infant thievery in the comic story. Ooh, nice pull there. Also, I think that blast at the hospital wasn't just a way to do the Joe exorcism and is going to have story-related consequences and exactly what Blue Darth Vader wanted. Lots of theories, but I'm sticking to being mad and keeping this short for me out of spite. Final notes: Superior Thawne, Iris Belly, Barry Gripper Thigh Allen is a leg man, Aegis Michelle Harrison, King Jesse L. Martin, Barry thinking of Iris and Nora for lightning eyes. Tell CBS brand Misty Day to stop trying to look in my soul while writing her diary entries. The end. Live. Okay, and then one more from Mads finishing us off. Well, I'll be damned, an episode of Flash that is entirely about the Flash, and what a great episode it was. I'm actually not even sure we needed those other scenes at the beginning, considering they didn't connect in any way to the rest of the episode, but I can't fault the cast for getting their paychecks, and I assume it probably meant to establish where everyone is going into the finale. Allegra, of course, is preparing for her starring role in the new Broadway musical, Allegra and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, coming to theaters near you. Cecile is remembering how to be a parent to her invisible daughter, while Joe suggests she makes the biggest sacrifice of her life to stay with them just one more day and going to the office late on Monday. Silly Joe, we all know she doesn't go to work. And Kyun is turning herself into blue smoke to get through doors and writing letters to Mark as she stares down the camera. So that's cool. But most importantly, Iris with the belly and getting her Pulitzer nomination. I mean, who knew Pulitzer noms came in the form of a simple email notification? I wasn't sure we'd get to see those things on screen, so I'm pleasantly surprised that we get both in one scene. Now, if only her husband didn't disappear 0.2 seconds later, but we still celebrate her accomplishments. Now on to the real review. I love this episode. It gave me all the best season 1 vibes with a side of Flashpoint, plus a callback to Barry calling himself Bart when he lost his memory.
Yes!
Speaking of season 1, though, love the little throwback to Barry accidentally crashing into the same exact laundry van as he did when he was just a baby speedster in the pilot, and the full circle moment of Barry being the Flash we saw in the season 1 finale and the one that saves himself as a child. I was really hoping we'd get that moment someday, and they definitely pulled through. And of course, my favorite repeated callback that the show does, Iris once again being Barry's lightning rod to ground him and give him the boost he needs. That one goes out to you, haters.
What are the girls?
Period.
Always love having Matt back as the superior Thawne. I said what I said. Sorry, Tom. Although I still find it a bit silly that Thawne's main reason for hating Barry is simply because he stole the spotlight from him one time. Seems a little extreme to go to him not wanting to murder the man as... from that to wanting to murder the man as a child. But I suppose Ebart's pettiness knows no bounds. Barry's scene with Henry and Nora had me feeling all the things. Grant, Michelle, and John have amazing chemistry, and the hospital scenes had me shedding a tear or two. Barry getting a chance to say all those things to them was beautiful. He didn't have to say the line about their granddaughter, though. I was already emotional enough. Even if Henry and Nora don't know he was talking about them, I'm so glad he was able to get closure. And finally, Eddie, or not Eddie, I wasn't expecting to see him already in this episode, but his appearance was very intriguing and left me with lots of questions. Why is he living in the West House? Is this maybe on another Earth? Was it just an Easter egg that his name is the same as the doctor who kidnapped Malcolm Thawne as a baby in the comics? Or do I smell a plot point? And him getting struck by lightning the exact same way as Barry? Okay, Eric, you've got my attention. All in all, good episode and start to the series finale. I'm actually almost a little mad. Everyone's so mad that it's good. Y'all are never pleased. I'm just kidding. I'm actually almost a little mad that the episode was so good because suddenly I'm feeling less prepared for the show to end. 3 more episodes to go. See you next week, Mads. And that's our emails.
Yeah. I just want to say I've been good the whole podcast.
Go for it.
I am Team Tom Cavanaugh. He is the superior Reverse Flash, period. And that's it. Anyway.
We can love them both.
I'm just responding to everybody's like, meh. You only like him because he's blonde. Get over it.
Let's read some comments in the chat before we turn it in. Mind again, I sense there's tension with Cecile on the podcast. I don't know. Why don't you go get her and tell us how we feel?
I feel that there's tension.
By the way, you know what? Here's an annoying tease for next week. She says I feel several times next week. So I'm like, oh, good.
So that's a drinking game.
Yeah, should we do a podcast after the season that's like a Cecile drinking game?
Yes! Oh my god, can I be on it?
Yes.
It's so hammered.
Someone add that to the doc.
That's gonna be yeah. We need content, y'all. So yes, we will make it happen. Let's see. Also, Matt says, also notice Grant doing his own stunt, at least for one part of the fight with Joey. And Grant usually does a lot of his own stunts. I think it's like more when he's in the suit that he doesn't do as much of it because maybe for practical reasons. Yeah. I mean, although I've heard that this suit is way more comfortable than like some of the previous Flash shoots. Matt says alternatives seem to be a bit of blue-hoo to the Eddie scene, and usually other Earths have a different color to them. Although I guess that could just be the Cabal blue of it all.
That's a good point.
That's a good. It's a lot of blue roses. Oh hello, Chainsaw. The best part was clear the mention of Shill Snore. Have fun next week.
Stop it.
Minecraft says Barry's mission is to prevent the merger of the WB and the UPN.
No, you can't change the timeline. It's a fixed point in time.
Instead, he created Max.
Oh my god. It's Max. That's Mercury.
Cypher Genius, maybe the alternate Eddie is a clone who has no memory of the original Eddie.
Have they done clones yet on this show? I don't think so. So
Clones? No, actually, which is wild considering.
Yeah. So
ladies, did we forget the Red Death invasion? Mirror Mistress, like literally sending clones of herself.
Oh yeah.
Well, but they're not like real people, right? They're like fake. I'm like talking like actual clones.
Okay, so we're talking about clones, not duplicates.
Yeah, not duplicates.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that were clone, like a Superboy clone type thing.
Yeah, I apologize to the clone community for.
Andy getting ahead of it. He's like, "You're not canceling me today."
I apologize to the clone community, please.
Vanessa's laugh is so contagious now.
That was good.
Okay, so people understand. So last week on Titan's podcast, anytime I said anything, Vanessa was suddenly like super offended. Like I talked about eyebrows, missing eyebrows.
You were talking about 50-year-olds in nursing homes. You were talking about robot people. Yeah, because I called you. It was wild. If you want to know what we're talking about, go listen to the last episode of Titan's podcast.
Yeah,
Reese is on there too. Yeah,
there you go. Matt says, I feel there should have been some repercussions from Bear meeting Henry in 2000 because he still lived another 16 years and saw that his own son grew up to look like that man. Okay, now y'all just nitpicking for the sake. Come on, like it's a comic book show. If you can accept that he can run super fast, you can accept that. Like, listen, Henry also gets old. Also, he's gonna be in prison like in 2 days from now in that timeline. So, Cypher, maybe she meant Diggle, who is now the head of Argus. I've lost track of what Diggle actually does anymore in this franchise. So
I don't think Diggle does anything with Argus anymore. I'm pretty sure he retired. I thought he retired.
No, because I think he did come on behalf of Argus for Superman and Lois once. Well, that's
a different Earth because Todd Helbing just decided to lie to us for 2 seasons. That's what I still don't understand. What was the point?
Todd.
Yeah, it's like let's see what else. Keown's plans being named Laverne and Khalil.
I did notice the Khalil. I was like, do you name her by Khalil? That makes me feel weird. I don't like that.
Well, she's only 9 months old, so she probably hasn't learned,
problematic. Keown, careful.
Yeah, exactly.
Frost and Kaylin. Today I got canceled.
Dear sister, today I listened to the Flash podcast where this brown man kept saying all these weird shit. They've nailed the 90s and 2005 this season. 2 of my favorite episodes. The 90s? When did we go to the 90s?
Just the general 90s vibe, because the 2000s was, it was the year 2000, so the year before that was 1999. So,
but we're talking about two of my favorite episodes. Wait, what is the other episode with the 90s?
The
speed lab. When Iris and Barry were dressed in Star Trek clothes.
Oh yeah.
Or as Iris kept thinking, Star Wars. She keeps fixing it every time. Like, oh, Star Wars, and Barry's like, no, that's Star Trek. How many bears are there supposed to be in that scene? Yeah, technically, if Helping Crisis didn't happen, then technically there would have been a season 5 Barry outside the window with Nora, with pre-crisis Nora. Then we would have had season 1 Barry. Then we would have had season 2 Barry. We would have had at least 2 reverse flashes. Still, both of them just Matt Letcher. Sadly, not as a hot cabin. I'm sorry. And then we would have had season 9 Barry. So yeah. But
Sounds like
Eric was like, "F it, I'm not gonna make it this complicated for Grant to play like 5 versions of himself at the same time." I always thought this would be a good story for this first season premiere. No, I kind of like that we had to wait for and earn it. Because also like how like I mean, do we really want to start out with the final season premiere of let's go to the night when Nora dies again? I'm like, oh, and not a final season of The Flash.
I mean, I could see it in the sense of like we actually get this story moving at the beginning of the season
Right,
versus like all this filler.
fair. Good point.
Andy Cypher G says Andy should see Orphan Black, and that clone looks similar. How they had different personalities. No, I know what Orphan Black is. Ironically, even though I never watched the show, that was one of the first press interviews I ever did at Comic-Con. And somehow it survived. Bad goes cancel Keon 2023. Let's see, what else are people saying? What are people saying? Yo, there's so many of you here tonight. I love it. Liv says I've seen a couple people fair that the crystal that's time jacking, that's a word. Barry is going to take him to all his critical evil speeds and moments, and next up is the night Zoom killed Henry.
That's a good theory.
Track, considering.
Barry has had a very traumatic life and seen every family member die. It doesn't seem to be commented on as much as other characters. Well, because we need Cecile to tell everyone how they feel.
I mean, I think the early seasons were pretty much all about Barry being traumatized. So.
Yeah, because the show is called The Fucking Flash, so yeah, God willing, it be about him. Let's see. Let's see. Forgot Cisco's part of Argus. No, I don't know.
Justice for Cisco.
Cisco. Go watch the show on Hulu.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, we've read most of these comments, so I think we're caught up. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight to another chaotic episode of Flash Podcast. I'm assuming at this point that all the other episodes for the rest of the season for this podcast will be chaotic. So enjoy. Let's see what community I offend next week.
Collecting them like Infinity Stones.
Yeah. I'm trying. Oh my god. Well, here's a community that I would love to offend. I'm sorry, you people who love Tucker Carlson has a rough rate lately.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry he got fired for being a douchebag.
That literally came from nowhere. I'm like,
I'm trying to think of like who can I offend that it doesn't actually matter. I'm like, well, like there you go. Vanessa, where can we find you on? Thank you. Wait. What did I do? What did I say this time?
They said that when you said something about next week after Chill Snore.
Wait for next week.
Yeah, something like that after Chill Snore, after the Chill Snore comment.
Watch next Wednesday's episode. Caitlin Comda, by the way, did a great job directing the episode. I'll try to give you guys some teasers on social media before the weekend starts, because this weekend I'm sleeping, and doing Times podcast. So
yeah.
But Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us. Despite Tatiana's inexcusable behavior, I was like, wait, is Vanessa actually crying? And I'm like, and then Tati has the audacity to go, and now I must leave. I'm like, no. So where can you find you on social media and your other projects?
You can find me gushing about Tom Cavanaugh 24/7. Just kidding. No, I do that on my private Tumblr. Anyway,
not so private anymore.
At Vanessa Shark on everything. I have a website, vanessashark.com, where I sometimes update. I write comic book reviews for Multiverse of Color. I am a part of Lituation Room, Lit Room _ podcast.
There you go.
Yeah, with Brother Nate, Brittany, and Clement. I am also the host of DC Studios podcast, where we cover everything and anything coming out of that chaos studio, along with Andy, Freeze, Keenan, Rachel, and assortment of others. And yeah, you can find at DC Studio Podcast. I am so good tonight. And yeah, I'm getting. It's been years, but I'm getting that good on the plugs, y'all. That's it. Bye.
I mean, wow. I mean, I think that's very offensive to the others community. And so, I know someone is gonna get offended in the comment, being like, "Oh wow, so now they're like, think it's funny
Now they're
to
making fun of
communities."
people being offended.
Offending the offended.
I know. Yeah, we're gonna go too far.
That is offensive to the offended community.
God bless anyone who listens through the end of the episode. Closer we get to 11 p.m. It just falls apart.
God bless anyone who's been listening to this podcast for 10 years and put up with, because the thing is, every season we've got a nuttier. So, find out what community we offend next week on all new episode of the Flash podcast. Bree, see, I didn't call you Jennifer once. Where can people find you on social media and your other projects?
You can find me on Twitter at Breeze Riley, DC Studios podcast with these lovely folks, Multiverse of Color, and TelltaleTV.com.
And you can find me all over social media at Anubakta. I will at some point post my phone note apology that every YouTuber influencer does these days. When all they say basically, "I'm sorry if I offended you." Hi Shane Dawson. But what I will, you can also find me at Screen Rant. I've done a lot of Titans interviews, y'all. So go check that out. Multiverse of Color, Endless Multiverse. We're back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna talk about Guardians 3. So there's that. Because it's been a long night, you all know where to find all the plugs in the Apologies for Tears and Sad Music. Dear Diary, dear someone, I don't know. Today I offended X amount of communities, and I laughed. But yeah, you can find all the plugs in the show notes. And again, show solidarity for the Writers Guild, because this is fucked up. What the studios are doing. Find information in our show notes, and again, look at the proposal. Look, again, they're not asking for the world. They're asking for reasonable living measurements. So it's support the writers, because without the writers, we would not have these shows. Mm-hmm. It starts with the writers. But on behalf of Toddy, who broke Vanessa tonight, and for Lacy, who didn't even watch this episode because she's been busy. I'm Andy B.
I'm Breeze.
I'm Vanessa.
We see you next time on the Flash podcast, unless we've been canceled. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Eric Wallace, showrunner of The Flash, and you are listening to The Flash podcast.
I played the wrong clip. I'm sorry, all. Good night, everyone.